Welcome all of you to the meeting. We've got quite a few things to take care of today. We're looking forward to getting into those and answering any other questions that we might have. If you would, please bow your heads. Let me say a word of prayer. Our Father, we're truly thankful to be gathered here today as friends and colleagues, and we're thankful to be able to meet and do the business of the town. Father, we ask you to continue to bless this town, bless this country, Father. Ask you to be with those who defend our freedom, be with their families, be with all those overseas as well as here at home. We ask you to continue to bless this council, Father, see us through and help us make the right decisions. We ask all these things in your most precious name. Amen. Oh, thank you. Don?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Don. Fire Prevention Week, special recognition. I'll let the mayor do that when he comes in, unless you want to go ahead and take care of it now.
You're on the, buddy.
Oh.
You need to go to the workshop agenda. This one.
Yeah, thank you. I'm getting ahead of myself here. The agenda for the day, I'd like to remind all of you that have cell phones, make sure you turn your cell phones off or silence them so they won't disturb. And if you have any questions or if you're signed up to speak, you'll be given an opportunity to do that. Right now, we need to adopt our agenda.
I make a motion we adopt it.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second to adopt the agenda. All those in favor, let it be known, saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed likewise. Ayes have it, the motion passed. Okay, our first item is an annexation request. But before we get into that, Alan, you want to go ahead and do where did Alan get to? Okay. We'll let the mayor handle that when he gets in. An annexation request, specific action requested. Amy, you want to go ahead and handle that?
I'll take care of it, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. This is just for council to provide consensus to set a public hearing for a tract that is 0.147 acres, be a satellite annexation located off of Tortuga Drive. The public hearing, if set by council, would be for November 1st at 4:30 p.m.
Do we need to make a motion?
I would suggest that you do, yes.
Yes,
sir.
we
I
need
make a
to.
motion that we set it for that date.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion for the annexation request, the public hearing to be set for, you say November 1st?
November 1st, yes, sir.
November the 1st at our meeting. All those in favor, let it be known by raising your right hand. All those opposed likewise. The ayes have it. So the motion is passed, and we will have a public hearing on November the 1st for that annexation request. And up next, I think we have an ordinance discussion, ordinance 12.1. And I guess, Jody, that is yours. Okay, thank you.
All right, good morning, everybody. So I did want to give everyone an update. So a few weeks ago, we came to you with the ordinance 1211 with the alcoholic beverage possession and consumption with some changes that we were requesting to that ordinance for a certain special event that has recently happened. So I wanted to give everybody an update on that outside entity that hosted that event. So this event happened a few weeks ago. We had no major issues, but we did have a few small items, mainly that the alcohol that was in the restricted area, mainly the alcohol was not staying in some of the restricted areas. It was going beyond that due to the event organizer failing to mark these areas with correct signage and not providing information for their volunteers to inform the event goers that, hey, you can't be beyond this point with alcohol. But other than that, we had no reported assaults, disturbances, or any alcohol-related incidents. So I come to you today wanting to know if you would like to move forward with some of the revisions that we had asked for last time, or if you were interested in keeping the ordinance the way it is, and being a case-by-case basis, where if we have another outside entity that is interested in hosting an event, that we would come back to you and that we would ask for your approval.
Additions, changes.
I'll go along with Jeremy. I don't see any point in coming back to us every time. Your special events committee can make that decision, and you've got fire, police, and everybody else involved in it. And I would say that you folks do it.
Make the changes.
Yeah.
Anybody else got anything, any discussion on it?
I just have a question. In the ordinance in the agenda packet is the way you want it, Jody, is that correct?
So the ordinance in the packet, I do believe, is the original ordinance. The ordinance that you received in the last, I'm not sure if it was work session or council session, does have the revisions to it.
Okay.
And just a reminder to the council, we veered away from what we've been doing in the past. And just for this event, we wanted to give it an opportunity to try to see how it would work and see what complications came up, if any major hurdles came up. And we only approved it for this event. But what Ms. Shepherd is proposing now, if you would like to do that, because their special events committee can also put any kinds of conditions on it that they have moving forwards. But our concern was that the thing be ran good and not have any major problems. And from what I've been able to gather and ascertain from the results that I've heard and seen, that's what happened. And she's asking for that to become permanent change, and then let the committee handle those situations from this point forward. And I have a motion to that effect from Mr. Shugart, stating that he's in agreement with that and would like to see that become permanent. And I need a second.
I second it.
I'm sorry, Don, I missed that. Have a motion and a second that there's amendment become permanent. All those in favor, let it be known by raising your right hand. All those opposed likewise. The ayes have it. The motion's passed. Thank you, Jody.
Thank you.
Let's see where I'm at here. Okay. Lease rental, Oak Island Hunting Club. Mr. Brewer, you want to take that, or you want me to take that?
I'd be happy to take it. You can certainly chime in at any time that you would like, but the town enjoys a lease relationship with the Oak Island Hunting Club at the Juniper Swamp property off of 50. Leadership, I can say over the last few years that I've been here and have worked directly with representatives of Oak Island Hunting Club as well as our town staff. They do have a good working relationship, and that does seem to be good. So what we're asking is just to go ahead and extend this lease through 2028, which would be another 5 years on top of their current term. That's set at $4.50, essentially an acre per that lease. So it generates a little over $10,000 a year for the town. And again, we're able to have a good working relationship with that group. And, we've had some, I think, external issues in the past, but we both worked together to identify those, locks on gates and then other people maybe entering the property. But I think we're doing good. So I'd recommend that we move forward with it. And that's really all I got, unless there's any other questions. But
You need a motion?
just a consensus to move it to the consent agenda for November.
I'll make a motion to do that.
All right, we have a second.
I'll agree. Do you have
Tre-
a copy of their liability insurance?
Yes, I have a current roster and liability insurance on file. That was something that we wanted to make sure that we tightened up, so.
Okay.
I have a motion and a second, Mr. Helms. Before we get into that, to answer some of the questions, I think they carry a $2 million liability policy that is in the town's name. They are a good group of young and old gentlemen that hunt, and they take good care. They're good stewards of the land, and it's hard to find hunting clubs or people this day and time that will do what they say they're gonna do and work with you, and this group has always done that. Chairman, what are you laughing about?
I didn't know there was bear out there.
Well, there's a little everything out there, yeah.
Yeah, there's a bear out
Or
there.
get them damn bear, I'll tell you that, man.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of extending the lease, let it be known by raising your right hand. The vote was unanimous. Thank you all. Move on to the next one, so that motion is approved. Acceptance of a road on Literacy Lane and Educational Drive. Chris?
Good morning, council.
Good morning.
I have been out to inspect both of these roads. They are built to the town standards. I don't see no issues with them, so it will be my recommendation that we move ahead and accept them.
I have one question. Do you want us to just take the roads, or you want the roads in the right of way?
So the road's in the right of way, sir.
That's what I thought. That's okay. I need a motion,
Just a consensus, he said.
consensus. All those, does anybody object to it?
We need a formal action if we're gonna accept street.
Yeah, I think just a consensus to move it to the agenda, and then the resolution will be prepared for that.
Anyone objection to moving to the consent? Okay. Let it be known that the consensus was to move it forward. Acceptance of the roads of the arbors. That's you again, Chris.
Yes, sir. So I have been out there. I've looked over these roads. They meet all the town standards. Mr. Poindexter has put some concrete in at the lift station to make sure our concrete does not bust up. That was the last thing that we asked him to do. He has done that. So it's my recommendation that the town take over the streets of the arbors.
Do we have a consensus on moving this forward as well?
I make this consensus.
Anybody object? No objections. Okay, it moves forward to acceptance as well.
Are the arbors built out?
No.
I think there's still one or two plots in there that are still being built on right now.
Okay, you have anything else?
No, sir, that's
All right,
it.
thank you, Chris.
All right, thank y'all.
The next on the agenda is the Board of Adjustment appointment. And who's handling that?
I don't have an application in front of me, I apologize for that, but it appears that you do have an application for a vacant position within the Board of Adjustment to appoint Mr. Steve Wheatley to that group.
Okay, is any,
I'll make a motion, we appoint him.
do I have a second?
Second it.
I have a motion and a second by Mr. Shugarts to appoint Steve Whitley to the Board of Adjustment. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Let the record reflect that it was unanimous vote to have him appointed.
Councilman Fowler, you are moving smooth through this. I can tell you that. You like a warm, hot knife going through butter, I'll tell you that, buddy, I'll tell you.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is Beautification Enhancement Committee discussion. Jeremy, you want to handle that?
I do. The committee's asking, they have an uneven amount of members, and with all the projects they have going, they were asking that their committee be expanded for one final position, which we knew we wanted to do this about a year ago. We just wanted to make sure the committee was up and running. And then if you do decide to do that, there is an application with Lanier Shepherd to be on that committee that would just piggyback on that to be added to that committee. So that's what I'm asking the council to do. If you could do that, I would be greatly appreciated, and I think they would be also.
Okay, any discussion? I have a little discussion on that. If Jeremy is a liaison to the Beautification Enhancement Committee, and this is his recommendation, and he has someone to take that, to increase that, it would take a board action, and I have no problem with that. And if that's what the recommendation is of the person, the liaison for that committee, then I think we need to certainly honor that and try to get that committee to the staff level they want it.
I'll make a motion to
I'll
accept it.
second.
All right, we have a motion from Mr. Koloski made and second by Mr. Helms to have one position added to the Beautification Enhancement Committee. And All those in favor of doing that, let it be known by raising your right hand. Let the records reflect that the vote was unanimous. Jeremy, do you also want to handle the appointment of that person at this time?
Yes, the application was put in properly through Carla. And so Lanier Shepherd, which lives down the street from Councilman Fowler, so most of you do know Lanier. He's a great, wonderful guy with the community and wants to be involved. They got some planning projects coming up, the mural project, so he's super well-versed in that. Then the committee's excited if they can, they've talked to the committee, they're excited if they're good with that process. So if you guys would be happy to put him to that board, it'd be great.
I'd like to make a motion to accept him.
I have a motion to accept him. Mr. Helms has seconded the motion. All those in favor, let it be known by raising your right hand. Let the records reflect it was unanimous. And Jeremy, you can welcome him to the committee.
Good, thank you, thank you.
And now I'm happy to see the mayor's here. He can take
That's all right,
over.
go ahead, you got it. You know where you are.
Next on the item is the comprehensive land use plan. Amy, I think you got some goodies for us.
So as y'all remember, the 160D legislative changes occurred a couple years ago. Part of that was that every town had to have if you want to practice zoning, you have to have an updated comprehensive land use plan. There was not a definition of what updated meant, but ours is from 2005 and is not up to date. So Planning Board has been working through the process of updating the comprehensive land use plan. They have reviewed it and have no additional comments. It has been sent to CAMA for CAMA's review and is being provided to council for council's review. I did talk to Wes about this, and any changes that you may want should not affect the CAMA portion of it because there's just certain requirements that have to be in there, they're not necessarily directing the policy, but there's certain points that have to be in there. And any changes that are made, he will get back to CAMA, but that gets us in their timeline because their timeline can be up to 6 months for approval. So we wanted to get started on that. As y'all have noticed in some of my last few staff reports, I point to certain things in the comprehensive land use plan as far as whether or not developments are meet our plan and should come to town based on the plan. So this plan is very important in that growth. Map 5.3 is a map that you're going to want to look at in here. And it is going to be our future land use plan. It shows our future plan area. So if you will note on this map, our future plan area should coincide with our potential sewer growth. So we did work with Price on this map to make sure that it, 5.3, tab 5, and it's towards it is the second one from tab 6. So again, when I bring new site plans and new subdivisions to y'all, this is the document that I'm going to be referencing. This is the map that kind of lays out that growth. So we definitely want your thoughts on that. Chapter 6 is the tools for managing development. That is the matrix. Basically, I will go through this and say whether or not the project meets or matches what it meets in chapter 6. And if you look, each of these, like 3.2.A.1 is also referenced in chapter 3, and there's information that leads to how we came about this matrix, but the matrix is combined into one place in chapter 6. So that's kind of, I guess, my marching orders on how to look at development and how to move forward. So if you have issues, concerns, thoughts, or whatnot on those, now is the time to discuss those. If those thoughts, issues, and concerns are minimal, then we will discuss it through me. If they are not minimal, we will invite Wes with the COG back, and we can have a meeting with him to discuss the comp plan if it's not quite the vision that you're going for. And then if you look in tab 8, That is going to be, if y'all remember, we did a 10-question survey back at the beginning of this that went out to the public. We had a little over 2,000 responses. So the responses are in here graphically, as well as the actual responses when people used words. So read through those to get an idea of what 2,000 people think about growth on the island. Mr. Shugarts?
Yes, how much time do we have to review this? What's your deadline?
It's going to take about 6 months for CAMA. If you could do it within a month so that we can go ahead, that way if I can know at the next council work session, if you would like to have a conversation or if we need to set something up different, that would be great.
Perfect.
You want it basically for the next work session.
If you have comments and questions.
That'll put us on the next agenda.
Yes, sir. I need direction as to, by the next work session, as to whether it's going to be a West level conversation, because there's a lot of questions and comments and thoughts, and you just need a more thorough understanding of what went into it, because the COG is the one that actually created the document, or if it's just like 2 or 3 things that I can easily clear up.
Mayor Pro Tem Fowler, do we get those, do we get that to you for that, or where do we get the information, if we've got questions?
Give the information to Carla,
Yeah, got it, okay.
and she will take it and distribute it and get it to where it needs to go.
Okay, got it.
And for the council, I'd like for you to have your comments and stuff and everything reviewed and ready for the next workshop. That'll allow us to get it on the agenda following, so we can get it approved. That should meet your time frame, I believe, Amy. Is that right?
Yes, sir. You don't have to technically approve it until after CAMA does, but if we're going to make any changes or anything, I'd rather start that early in the CAMA process so that as soon as CAMA says it's blessed, y'all are ready to say, we agree, and we can move forward and start using this land use plan, because I can't use this land use plan until it's approved.
You remember our conversation that we had about,
Yes, I do.
have you looked into that? Does this
A
address
little
that?
bit, this is your chance to help drive the densities of moving forward, and the scale of development. There is some size scale on the island. There were some limits that were removed by planning board. So if there's concern also with scale, now would be the time to look at the scale of new development on the island and then the densities off island.
Just for the sake of the council, to let you know, after some careful consideration, I asked Amy to look into the possibility of some of these developments when we're coming in, because most of our land we have around us are wetlands. And our land use plan calls for a density of 4 homes per acre. Now, some of our developers, or some of the ones who has them as wetland, if you look at our land use plan and it says 4 homes per acre, they can come in and put 4 homes on the wetlands. I think the intentions, or I know my intentions are, or were, to use the buildable land, the good land, for the land use plan, and then let the conditions that be placed by the planning board and camera when they try to go into the wetlands. But that would also help us and give us more control over when someone comes in and says, okay, I just bought this 10 acres and 4 of it is good land, but I got 6 acres in wetland, and I want to build 40 homes in here. And they can, according to what our intentions would be for them to use the 4 acres, which would be 16 homes. And then that would give us some control and some teeth, I guess you could say, on helping do this and do that. That's what I've asked her to look into and try to incorporate it. Do y'all have any feelings about that one way or the other? Or?
I think it's a good idea. That would have helped us on this last episode that we had, or discussion
Right,
we had. It would have stopped that from the get-go.
Also looking at apartments off the island in the middle of a residential neighborhood. You know, I think there's a lot of things that as we go through this, there's gonna be a lot of questions and concerns based on recent activities that we're gonna look back at and want to adjust.
Our last comprehensive land use plan, was written when the market was different. We weren't having apartments request up here that much and things. So as the market has shifted and as the development has shifted, we need our comprehensive land use plan to shift with it to continue to provide the development that we want and not whatever's coming. had this conversation with someone recently, last week, that it's not my job to accept development just to get development in the town. It's my job to accept development that meets the ordinances.
Amen.
Well,
Did I hear amen down there?
Yes.
just to clarify something for me, environmentally, wouldn't it be better not to build on wetlands? Because the more wetlands we take away, the less we have.
We're not,
You can't build on wetlands.
Yes, sir. We're not building on the wetlands, but we're taking that entire quantity and multiplying it by 4, and then we're putting it on this small piece over here.
Right.
So it's
Well, they're
increasing the
talking about is-
density.
Okay, thanks for clearing it up.
If you've got 4 acres of wetlands and 4 acres of
Dry
dry
land.
land, then you would figure your development on 8 acres.
Okay, I see.
But not building it on wetlands, it just all be built on the dry land.
Get you.
And they need to be figuring it on 4 acres.
Right. Yeah, okay. Thank you. Thank you for clearing that up.
Anything else? I'm sorry.
But now what you're gonna have to do, we gonna get a lot of pushback. We're gonna have to figure some way or another to be able to figure in, because if a person's got 4 acres of dry land, and then another person's got 8 acres, and 4 of it is wet and 4 of it is dry, then they're gonna expect some kind of counting for the 4 acres of wetland. You know, if they can't use it for anything.
And the other thing I do want to mention is that the 4 units per acre that we're talking about is in certain residential. So there are other zoned areas that would allow for denser development. We typically put those next to our larger roads like 17, 210, and 50, and not back in the woods away. So the example of 4 units per acre was for the transitional residential in our previous comprehensive land use plan. So we can have areas that do allow for more dense where it makes more sense, while protecting those other areas where it makes less sense.
Any other questions on that?
I just wanted to note real quick, thank you, Amy, for guiding the process through, but the implementation matrix and all those policies and objectives are not just planning department focused. Amy sat down with all the departments who have a piece in this, utilities and emergency management and, police and fire, et cetera, to make sure that those action items, made sense and were achievable by all departments. So I think it's a great town-wide effort to move this forward. So I just wanted to, thank Amy for pushing that and getting everybody together and not just developing this between, Amy, the COG, and planning board. So that's all I had.
Yeah, I thank you too, Amy, as well as the council. But I do ask the council to look at this, get your thoughts together, and get any information that you have, any thoughts that you, or concerns you may have, to Carla, so she can get that back out to all the rest of us as well as Amy, and give Amy an idea of what we're looking to be included into it. And then she can summarize it and try to add it to it, and have it ready whenever Cameron does pull the switch and give us the green light, then we'll be ready to roll with it. And I think it's what the mayor said about the wetlands. I think there's some things can be done with that, and I know there's different areas of building the density that we can take any. But if somebody's got land, we may be, for the sake of building, if they want to build some apartments, let's say, instead of taking all that extra 4 acres and having that 4 homes per acre, we could say, okay, we can give you 1 if you want to build 6 apartments, or if you want to build whatever. But some work, and that will be coming through you with conditions placed down once we ever get the land use plan nailed down. If I understand it correctly, am I basically right?
We can look at the wording on that and see whether we want to do net acres, total acres, buildable acres, and kind of break it down with that.
Okay. All right, anybody have anything else on the land use plan? Amy, do you have anything else? Thank you. You want to take it? You want to take it?
No, you go ahead.
Next up, we have the Ocean Rescue Plan. I think that's Brother Chief Wilson there.
So, Mr. Mayor, Council, Mr. Brewer, thank you for letting me come and present our Ocean Rescue Strategic Plan. This process started a couple years ago at the direction of Mr. Brewer to help us develop a guided mission for ocean rescue in the future. Some of the key members of the group were myself, Deputy Chief Hobbs, Firefighter Meyer, Firefighter Smith, Firefighter Weber, Mr. Brewer, former police Chief Shanahan, and even Chief Voorhees kind of come in on the tail end of it. Mayor Medlin and Ms. LaPointe was also part of that group. The strategic plan basically is a roadmap, to help us achieve defined goals and objectives on what we want the ocean rescue program to look like. And a significant portion of this planning process comes from the public. So we wanted to know what our community wanted. We wanted to know what they wanted in terms of beach safety. So we started with external surveys to get ideas and perceptions from the public. We sent 2 surveys, one to gauge experience with the ocean rescue program, and one to try to ascertain what are the wants and desires or outcomes and perceptions of what the community wanted to see with the ocean rescue program. You can review all the results. They're in the document that's in your packet. But I did want to point out that we received 1,614 surveys. So we felt like that was a pretty good success. On the first survey, I'd say it was about half and half, resident and non-resident. The second survey was a little heavily 60-40 on residents versus non-residents. So again, we felt like we got a pretty good return on those surveys. We also looked internally with a SWOT analysis, basically trying to determine what the department's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats were in relation to the ocean rescue program. And then we also reviewed our season-ending ocean rescue data that kind of helped us guide to what our guys were seeing out in the field. And once we had all this information together, we really felt like when we started this was kind of right at the height of COVID, and we couldn't have a public meeting at first, which is generally what we would have started with, but we decided to continue and have that public meeting right at the end of the process. We just really wanted to give the community the opportunity to come and speak and provide information for us so we could help build this program. And we did. We had that community meeting. But basically what happened when we come through and we had the daunting task at that point in time to really put this data together, find out where our weaknesses were, and what kind of opportunities we could have to move forward. We basically came up with 5 strategic goals: operational excellence, personnel development, community engagement, financial resilience, and defining the mission. And each strategic goal has identified objectives that will assist the department to successfully meet these goals. And operational excellence basically is, just improve operational efficiency, improve operational posture, provide safe, reliable, and well-placed resources to protect our community. And then we looked at personnel development, basically training level of our personnel, develop a comprehensive training plan, increase our efficiency, safety, and operational continuity. We've talked about our training captain position needs, and that's kind of feels in line with that. Enhance longevity through effective planning for future needs and opportunities. And then we looked at community engagement again to try to get the community involved in beach safety. So we were looking at enhancing communications with the public to provide effective and efficient messages to beach water safety, define potential community educational initiatives. And then we look at the financial piece. So financial resiliency is identify costs and estimates, implementation timetables for key program initiatives, establish funding goals for community donations and fundraising efforts through the Surf City Firefighters Auxiliary, identify potential grant opportunities for those non-reoccurring expenses. And then we looked at finally identifying our mission. Evaluate and modify the department's mission statement to include that ocean rescue dynamic. And then we also talked potentially about a feasibility study to see if we needed to even rebrand the fire department to identify that ocean rescue piece into the Surf City Fire and Rescue Department. And that kind of came out of that goal because a lot of people really didn't know we did the rescue aspect. So down and dirty, not quite as comprehensive as the land use plan, But that's pretty much the down and dirty of that program. There's a lot of data and a lot of information in that document. Obviously, we want to give you all time to look at it. I think the fire department would like for an official approval of the plan so we can utilize this plan for future movements of the department. But I can answer any questions you may have.
Do we need to make a motion and approve it, or do we need time to read over this?
I would say let's take time and bring it back up on the 21st at our workshop, and then
Okay.
we can put it on the consent agenda.
All right.
Will that work with you?
Yes, sir.
Adam? Thank
Can
you.
I request a, like, print a copy?
Yes, ma'am.
Can I get one of those too?
Yes, sir.
If you
Not a
would,
problem.
Mr. Wilson, provide all of them with a written copy.
I will do that.
I'm
I
glad you
will.
said that, because I was going to ask too.
Yeah, not a problem. All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Anything
you.
else? Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right.
What you got next, buddy?
Budget timeline for the fiscal year 23-24. Mr. Manager, I think you got that.
Here we go again. So, Dave and I have
Already.
looked at the next several months to start developing our process for preparing and delivering a budget for the next fiscal year. So, as you'll see, the first item up here is CIP requests. We'll meet with department heads on November 8th to go over that process, give them some time, and then we will get those back in December. We're looking at January 12th as being our budget retreat. At that retreat, I anticipate going over preliminary information, really looking at where we're at in the current fiscal year so that we can start thinking ahead. Also, I'd like to present a draft townwide update to our strategic plan so that we can develop annual work plans off of that. The last strategic plan that was completed was 2017, so we are due to update that. And then we will go through the typical process that we do, giving as much time as you need to review information. One thing that we will deliver to you this year is a budget book, which will be more of a summary review document from each department and their requests. Instead of just handing you over a 300-page spreadsheet to review line item by line item. Of course, we will still have that available to you, but we just wanted to really do a better job at presenting the information to you. So we don't need this adopted by any means. I just wanted to get it on your radar, make sure that you see the dates coming up and get those in your calendar. Or if you'd like Carla to put them on your calendar, we certainly can do that as well. But that's really what I wanted to talk to you all about. If you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to try to answer those.
I have one. On the retreat, do you think it's a good time to hold it in January, or should we maybe move it to February, March? I give you an opportunity to have some of the budget items in, so we kind of have an idea of what we're looking at, as well as handling the other ideas of what we're looking forward to doing for that year.
Sure, we can push that back. That gives Dave more time to start looking at projections. We don't like to do those too early, but that's completely up to you all.
Yeah, can we do it first, middle of February?
Yeah.
Before the 24th?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think anywhere from the end of February to the first week or two in March should be that gives you a pretty good feel of what everybody's already requesting for the budget.
Sure.
Because I think your deadline's going to be somewhere in March anyway, isn't it?
We've got budget request line items due February 24 from department heads. So ultimately,
You want to do it in March?
well, we do have a budget workshop scheduled in March already for March 17th, because I will need some time to review those department requests and make some recommendations for y'all before you look at it initially.
The only reason I was asking about the time frame wasn't necessarily to do the budget itself, but to give you an idea of what, when you make your plans and then we do the retreat, what we're looking forward to going into the following year.
Sure.
But if you think February's fine, that's good, or, if, you know, whatever.
I mean, we will have plenty of information to get to you in February, absolutely.
Let's just hold it sometime between the middle and the end of February then.
Okay, very good. We'll get that,
Does that meet everybody else's approval? Okay.
Good, yeah.
All right. Is that all you got on that?
that's it.
Anybody got anything else?
If I can, just a couple of things. So, something I was not able to get on the work session simply because of timing, but I will have this on our November 1st agenda, will be a contract and selection for a consultant to lead us through our Resilient Coastal Communities Program for Phase 3. The budget has already been set for that at $135,000, fully reimbursable. We have interviews with 2 firms on Monday, so I'll have that moving forward. I try not to put things on your regular agenda that we have not discussed before, but I will have to carry that forward. And then the only other thing is our enhancement project is moving forward. Drove over to the island yesterday afternoon. We have some landscaping planted, so really excited about that, and it's looking good. So those are the only 2 things that I had.
All right. Mayor, I think that includes everything, but asking everybody what they want to do, you want to close out?
I will.
All right.
I appreciate it. Sorry I was late. I had a interview with a doctor, so online, so that was where I was tied up. So anyway, but I appreciate you taking it over, buddy. And sounds like to me, Amy, you did a good job of painting this picture on the front here. Yeah. But anyway, I appreciate it. And yeah, I think this comprehensive land use plan, if we can get it straightened out, will keep a lot of problems that we might have coming up without it. In fact, if we'd have had it a little bit earlier, we might not have. Of course, we just denied them, so that was the easy way to take care of that one. But anyway, appreciate it. Okay.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Can I just, real quick, I want to just give you just a quick update about Surf City Live, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Just very quickly.
Yeah.
We're definitely going to meet the budget on it. I know that the council obviously did a budget amendment
Right.
to be able to get things going, and ticket sales are doing fantastic. Sponsorship's been fantastic. Every department, I've been fortunate to work with Jody and James on this project, and they've allowed me. I'm not sure they're happy I'm doing it, but they're dealing with me. But it's been fantastic. So I think we're super pleased with the results we're getting, and I just want to cover so I can ask it to do this next year again. So that's. I mean, we'd like to.
We ain't even got the budget ready for next
we'd like
year.
we'd like to make some profit to be able to pass this on to the park or the next event. But for sure, we're going to cover, and they're doing a great job with it, all the departments. So I just want to let you guys know that.
That's good to hear.
So.
Yeah.
And I will send out a detailed budget this afternoon to y'all. It's on my to-do list, so you'll have the actual numbers of everything today. So.
Since Jeremy started it on that end, you want him to go ahead and let Don go ahead, Mayor?
Yeah. You got anything you want to?
No, I'm glad that we're getting this comprehensive land use plan and the ocean rescue plan, and I'm glad to hear that the concert's coming along fine, and I hope everybody has a good weekend. That's all I got.
All right. Teresa,
I'm good.
you starting on the weekend early, aren't you?
I am.
I mean, Don, he's talking about having a good weekend.
Today is Friday.
Yeah.
Friday.
Day's Friday.
It's already here. Yeah. All right. You ain't got anything else?
I'm good.
You good? Okay. Buddy?
I just want to reiterate the appreciation the council and I have for all the town staff and the manager for reaching out, finding the grants. But don't sit on your laurels. Keep looking and keep getting grants. We need them. It makes a big difference when we come down to setting the budget and helping with the tax breaks. And it does not go unappreciated. It's very appreciated by this council and certainly by our citizens. Thank you.
Okay. John?
I'm good.
You good?
Yep.
Okay. Is our grants coming in good on the skate park?
We are looking into some other avenues of money, yes.
Okay. All right. That's the only thing I got. All right, Mr. Attorney?
Nothing to report.
Nothing to report. All right.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Motion, we are adjourned.